And you know what? This applies to my girls in their age, in their young age groups. I was just talking to my daughter. She goes, "Oh my gosh, we have so many injuries on the team right now
Mm,
because of overtraining." There's not. With
yeah,
rowing, it's not
yeah,
a contact sport. You're not, banging into someone and having a fall. It's just overtraining, and
mhm,
so even at the younger ages. And so imagine what your body is doing later on,
yeah,
and then you can't do anything.
yeah,
That
yeah,
cardio causes the stress to go up, the cortisol to go up. And guess what happens with cortisol? Fat storage. The body
right,
says, "Oh, I have only so much money in the bank.
mhm,
I can't, if I only have $20 in the bank, I'm going to slow down my spending to
mhm,
make that $20 last a whole lot longer."
mhm,
And that's what cortisol does. That's what your body does when you constantly go on eight
mhm,
mile runs every day.
mhm.
And then you sacrifice the other parts and the other ways of working out and benefiting your body.
Right, and twofold, right? So cortisol is present, we're in a fat storage mode, and we're breaking down muscle at the same
Right.
time, you know? And so, all of that is compromising for sure. But the truth is, if you hit your 40s and you're trying to do that, you have another thing pinging you for increasing your cortisol, and that's just hormones. It's just because you punched your ticket in midlife. Period. It's going on whether you caused it by some of your lifestyle habits or not. It's happening. So it's just another thing contributing, and we have a tipping point, and it's different for you or for me or for any woman watching. The tipping point is different. So often somebody will ask a follow-up question right now, like, well, how much is too much? And you and I can't answer that for them.
Mhm.
We have to answer by, let's talk about your signs and symptoms, because they're showing up telling you that that's too much for you. So, number one, remember that the exercise you're doing should make you feel good. If it doesn't, it's making you more tired, or you're cranky, you're moody, you're hangry, you don't have an appetite, or you have an outrageous appetite with cravings. Those are all signs of overtraining. And we could say it's overtraining, or we could also say, is it under recovery? So
Mhm.
sometimes the workout itself is not the problem. The workout is good, but we're trying to pack too many of them too close together without putting some milder recovery workouts. We forget that some workouts cause recovery, or are recovery, but others cause the need for it. And it's up to you to distinguish which was that.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I wear an Aura ring, and it
Mm.
doesn't lie to me. It's that voice in the back of my head saying, "Sarah, you need to take a step back." Because 'Cause I'm a type A personality. I love working out. I was an athlete when I was young, and I think that I'm still, in high school. So, with that being said, it's hard for me to take a step back. So what does a recovery workout look like?
It's a great question. And again, for anybody watching, it's going to be slightly different. So let's say you are a runner. Your whole life you've been a runner, and you like to do sprinting, you go fast or you go long. And that probably later in life isn't going to work for a short period of time anyway as well for you. But you probably are more likely to continue doing that. For you, a light jog and a short duration might be recovery. Anybody listening who doesn't run at all, a light jog is probably high intensity, right? So it's who are you? But in general, so to say, for every individual, doing it lighter than you normally would do it if you were getting breathless. So you're just backing way off. You're doing the equivalent of going out for a leisurely walk, not based on a pace or a heart rate or a breathlessness, finishing in a certain time. It's not that. It's movement. So we get circulation, we get blood flow going to working muscles. That will help in recovery, which is partially removing lactate that causes soreness and muscle damage, removing that by moving as opposed to sitting on the couch. So the body always does better with active recovery more so than passive recovery. Now, look, I like a massage as well as the next person, probably better, actually. I really like massage.
Me too.
But going for a walk or for instance, a swim for almost any of us. Now, again, if you're not skill oriented to swimming, that can be a lot of work for you, but we could talk about walking in the water. The water actually really facilitates some really good stuff. And I think a lot of runners have found that secret that if they jump in the pool after a run just to get wet, float around, or even do a few easy light laps, they find they recover faster. So we're talking lower impact, gentler on the body. And anytime you can get in the water, including, an Epsom salt bath, you're doing better.
I know you love your power plate, and I've got my vibration machine in my garage, and I will do a hard workout with weights and sit ups and push ups and doing all the things. But when I also just in midday, we'll stand on it for 10
Mhm,
minutes just to get the circulation going, just to calm down my nervous system. And that's one idea.
mhm,
Rebounding, and I always say that taking my dog for a walk, 10 minutes, that's it.
mhm,
Like
mhm,
lowers down that stress level and balances my hormones, gets
mhm,
me out in the sun and nature, and that is magic and it's
mhm,
free. So there's ways to incorporate little snacks too during the day
mhm.
to mix up your day, help with your mental space, lower that cortisol. But back to the hormone shift that when we hit 40, when we hit 50, what are the hormones doing? What's changing, and why does that change the way we need to look at our exercise?
Yeah, well, sex hormones are always what we start talking about, and I'm sure as much as you, I dislike that, "Oh, it's my hormones," and to me that is like "Oh, I can't do anything about it. It's my hormones." But we can once we figure out what is going on. So, physiologically in menopause, what happens is our estrogen is trending downward, so too is our progesterone and our testosterone. For women, estrogen is a huge muscle and bone stimulant.
Yeah.
But what the body does magically in effort to stay at some kind of homeostasis is when estrogen comes down, cortisol increases and the body can magically convert one hormone into another one. When we need something going on, we don't have it, it can convert. Now, if you think about this, this is like having multiple bank accounts, right? And you just transfer money into the other one, but then you forget. And I don't know who this happens to, right? But you write checks on the one that you've withdrawn and moved over. That's going to be a problem, right? Because whatever you are trying to use, you're not going to get that result. But the body creates more cortisol in response to our trending down estrogen as we're in menopause. This happens to every woman, not just occasionally or those of us that over exercise. It happens to everybody. But it's the body's attempt to say, I can just create estrogen from cortisol and then we'll be okay. And it doesn't work very effectively. It only is able to convert maybe 10%, but the damage is done because cortisol is a catabolic hormone, meaning if we line them up and we say estrogen and cortisol and insulin and testosterone, what do? They're either anabolic, helping us build our lean muscle mass, or they're catabolic and they are responsible for breaking down. Well,
Yeah.
estrogen was anabolic. Cortisol, which replaced it, catabolic.
Yeah.
Problem, right? Yeah.
And this is why when they call it the adrenal body type, the adrenals are what
Mm,
produce the cortisol. What happens is you get the big belly
mhm,
because the cortisol is telling your body, I need
mhm,
to protect my organs,
mm,
right? And then we pull and eat
Mhm.
away at the leg muscle and the butt. And so the butt goes away. You have a flat butt, skinny legs, skinny arms, a big buffalo back. Why do you need these big shoulders? Well, think about our ancestors. If you want to protect yourself, you want to be like a football player and have that big fat pad on your back. So
Yeah.
those are signs that you're overproducing that cortisol and it's not working for you.
And right back to what you said, if you do that, you over exercise. Earlier, you said, and what's going to happen for you is not that you're going to burn calories, you're actually going to potentially burn out, but you're going to create fat storage. And that is the irony right there. So, everybody, don't let that slip past you. We create this cortisol adrenal belly, and so what do we do when we see that and we want it gone? We try to burn more calories and we create more of the problem. We
Right.
not only don't lose weight, we potentially gain more. And it's like we're cementing ourselves in this hole.